Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, hi and welcome. My name is Megan, and today's video is going to be a week of workouts. I am super excited to take you guys through this week of workouts. I'm going to be doing this for 4 weeks. I created a 4-week training block. I'm on week 2, and I'm super excited to walk you guys through this program that I created for myself. If you guys have seen my other week of workouts, then you know I'm filming these monthly, so feel free to watch some of my other ones. I have some up from when I was in college. I have some when I was in a summer phase, as well as the past few months of 2023. So there's a bunch of different options, and you guys can see how my routine kind of changes as my life changes as well. But for this April one, I'm going to take you guys through a 5-day split. I haven't done a 5-day split in a while, but I wanted to bring it back. I kind of made some changes to my workout split and just tried to find ways to fall in love with my routine again, because honestly, I was getting burnt out and a little bit tired of what I was doing. And I always tell you guys, if you feel like that's happening to you, then to find a way to switch it up and you will ultimately enjoy it a lot more. To start off the week, we're going to be doing a leg day. Today is going to be a quad and hamstring focused leg day. It's going to have pretty much all of your typical leg day moves, and you guys can just scale variations to either what your gym has or what you're comfortable doing. So for example, if I'm doing a barbell squat, you guys can still do a goblet squat, sumo squat, or bodyweight squat. So don't feel like you have to do the exact same thing as me. So without further ado, let's head to the gym and do the first workout of this week, which is a leg day. We are beginning with some barbell squats, so before I even go into loading the movement, I like to go in and just do a few sets with just the barbell. Usually I'll do 2 to 3 sets of 4 to 5 reps, really just getting the movement pattern and seeing how I feel, how my lower back is feeling in this case, and if I'm feeling mobile or not. If you guys aren't doing barbell squats, but you still are planning to do something loaded, you should still do some body weight and progression schemes to get you to your working weight if you are going to be working at a higher load. I ended up only adding 25s on each side. I really have been struggling with my lower back, and I just knew that it wasn't a good idea to load it super heavy. So here my focus really was my form, making sure to get solid range of motion and really focus on bracing my core throughout, getting good depth, and just not overdoing it. So with squatting, what you want to do is think about driving your knees towards the toes, driving them outwards. Make sure that your knees don't cave, keep your core braced, and really think about keeping full body tension as you get that full range of motion. So from the side view with it loaded, you guys will be able to see a lot of the key points. So I like to unrack the bar, really get set in my footing, toes slightly outwards, nice deep breath for bracing my core, and then I go down. I like to hinge back at my hips slightly and then bend in my knees. Everything is going to be super fluid, and it's really good to focus on that bar pass. So looking at my barbell going straight up and down, that is the goal when you are doing a barbell squat. Now for everyone's favorite exercise, Bulgarians. So I personally like to do these with only one weight and holding that weight on the side of my working leg, and then using my other arm for stability to ensure that I can get that full range of motion. Something that I see clients struggle with is getting that full range of motion and depth, either because of the bench being too tall behind them or because of lack of stability. So this kind of helps you to get that stability component, and then I recommend trying to find a good platform that is a proper height for you to where you feel comfortable. Remember that the weight will never be as important as the form. Next up, we're going into B stance RDLs. These are a staple in my routine. Unilateral work is always going to be great for working our muscular imbalances, and here what you want to think about is hinging back at your hips. Really think about if you were to push a button with your butt, how you would push your hips back to do that, while also think about shaving your legs with the weight, keeping it nice and close to your legs. Think about keeping it right over your quote unquote shoelaces if you had them. Keep your core tight, and really again, try to feel this full range of motion go down to where it's appropriate for you, where you get that nice stretch in your hamstring, then come up back to full hip extension before going back down. RDLs are harder to master, but don't give up, keep with it, and you will be able to get down the form, and there's such a great movement for your posterior chain. Next, we're going to be moving into another unilateral movement for the hamstrings. I've been loving doing these. Typically, I would actually superset these together, but I didn't have access to the machine when I was doing the B-stance RDLs, so I'm doing them separate. What I'm doing here is just a single leg hamstring curl. My gym has a super nice fancy dancy machine, but if your gym doesn't, you can go ahead and just use a normal hamstring curl machine, either lying flat or seated, and just ensure to use one leg at a time, or you can use both if you don't feel like doing unilateral work. But basically what I am doing here is curling up to my butt and really trying to keep control throughout the entire movement, even on the descent. My hamstrings are one of the weakest parts. I can tell by how little I can load this movement, so it's something that I'm always looking to progress and focus on and kind of keep controlled throughout. And again, it's really nice to get some unilateral work because right to left, you probably have some imbalances that you'll notice. Then the next movement we're going into is some leg extensions. Typically I do some form of a complex. This time I was kind of just messing around. So what I would do is do as many reps as I could get in with good form and not fatiguing at a certain weight. And then I would increase the weight and I just kind of keep doing that until I felt like a little burnout, treated that as a set and then kept going. So I would recommend, if you don't want to do this, that you just do a rep scheme. So you pick a rep scheme, like maybe do 4x10 and really pick a challenging weight for yourself. But that's just what I was up to. And then I did 3 rounds of this, but basically I just did the lightest weight possible. And then I did a hold at the top of the movement. This is going to help to strengthen the quads, the patella. I did finish with calf raises, but there was a personal training session going on, so I didn't record that, but make sure to not skip your calves. Hi guys, and happy Wednesday. I took yesterday off and I'm headed to the gym today. I have implemented this new workout day into my split. It's going to be a back and shoulder day, which is really fun because it's kind of the 2 sculpting muscles that I really want to build. I feel like they're the ones that have really helped my physique, also helped me look a lot more snatched. Let's just go ahead and hop into this back and shoulder day. Starting off with a superset, we're doing 2 new movements, which I'm very excited to share with my YouTube fam. So first we're doing a push press, as you guys see me doing here. Slight bend of the knees as the bar is coming down and then pushing back up with that momentum. These are so freaking hard. They're so much harder than they look, and it's something that I really want to try to get stronger at, so I'm going to keep with it. But at the moment, I'm doing them at kind of a lower rep range because I literally can't do more than 6 reps without getting fatigued. So I go ahead, I do the 6 reps, and then I immediately grab a kettlebell, put it on its back, and then I am going in and doing a single arm neutral grip kettlebell press, as you guys see me doing here. I like to do these kneeling so that I have some nice stability, and it's also a great movement to challenge your core because you do have to keep your core nice and tight because the kettlebell, it is not as stable. As you guys can see on my left arm, it's really hard for me to balance it, but it wants to move around. And so not only is it about the shoulder pressing, it's about your core staying tight, it's about your arm and your forearm, keeping that strength, keeping the stability, not letting it shake. It's a really great challenging movement. Then I went in and I just did some pull-ups. This is a sad excuse for a pull-up. Honestly, I cannot do pull-ups to save my life, but this day I felt like I wanted to challenge myself, so I just did, again, as many reps as I could for 4 to 5 rounds, and I used this band hack to be my assisted because my gym doesn't have an assisted pull-up machine. And now for another new movement / complex. I think the reason I've been enjoying the implementation of this day so much is because there's so much new stuff and it's kind of more things that I have to actually focus on doing as opposed to things that I'm super used to the movements and sometimes slack on a little bit. So I'm very excited about this movement. So it is a kettlebell bent over row complex. So you're going to do right arm row, left arm row, both arms row, and that counts as 1 rep. Then you're going to do that for 6 total times. Clearly 6 is like my favorite number on this day. Now we're moving into another superset that I really have been enjoying and honestly have been doing for so long. So we are starting off with our lateral raises. My gym again has this fancy dancy machine, which I love so much, but you guys can do these on the cables. You guys can do these with dumbbells. There's plenty of options for you when it comes to lateral raises, so don't feel like you have to have a machine to be able to do them. But the key with that is just making sure that you're going up to shoulder height. Then immediately after, you're going to go and you're going to sit down and you're going to do neutral grip front raises. The reason that I like to sit is because typically after the lateral raises, my arms are toast and I want to use my body to sway. But when you're seated and you have that nice back stability, you can focus on just driving this movement from your arms and really focusing on quality reps, which is what I'm doing here. So it's such a nice superset and it really is a burner that I recommend that you guys go ahead and give a shot in your routine. And to finish off this day, we are doing cable lat push downs. These are a newer movement to me as well. I personally like to use the rope attachment instead of the straight bar, but you guys are welcome to do whatever feels most comfortable for you. Keeping your arms as straight as possible, you're going to pull down towards your hips, and then you're going to control even back on the way up, making sure to get that full stretch on your lats. Then when you get to about shoulder height, you want to push and start initiating that push down again. This is such a great movement for the lats, definitely a challenging one that I definitely recommend you guys give a shot. And that is it for this back and shoulder day. Okay, happy Thursday, you guys. We are going to be doing a glute focus leg day today. Love this workout day. I made some changes from my previous week of workout videos. Kind of all the same movements, just maybe different variations or stances, but overall kind of the same movements that I'm just trying to overload. So let's hop hop into this glute focused leg day. We are starting off with barbell hip thrusts. Usually in the past I was doing, hip thrusts with a cast glute bridge or just cast glute bridge or B stands. This time around we're doing just standard hip thrusts. I haven't just done standard hip thrusts in such a long time. So you want to align the bench under your shoulder blades, keep your chin tucked, core tight. Then you want your feet at about shoulder width apart, but then you want to externally rotate your toes outwards so that you can get full hip extension at the top of the movement. Then you are going to be scooping and getting a full range of motion here. So as you guys can see, the plates are coming down towards the floor before coming back up. Then I like to finish off every set with a hold as long as I possibly can, which is always killer. And this is just a great way to start off my glute day. Second on my glute days, I love any RDL variation. In the past, I did barbell. Sometimes I put B stance on this day. Sometimes I've done landmine, but today I'm just doing 2 dumbbells, traditional RDLs here with a slight glute bias. So as I'm going down, you guys can see that I have a slight bend in my knee, nothing too crazy. Pushing my hips back again, think about pressing a button with your butt, or think about someone pulling back at your hips. You want to push your hips back as far as they can go, and that is what's going to drive your torso forward. So you're not bringing your torso forward or leaning forward as you're doing this movement. Just focus on sending those hips back and keeping that core tight. And I like to go to about mid shin, but where it lands on you is going to be different based on your personal ranges of motion. Now for another movement I've been loving that I really recommend you guys do. I know the setup for this is probably super tedious in a busy gym, so I understand if you guys don't do it this way, but step-ups have been such a great addition to my routine, but doing step-ups on the cable machine have really been a game changer for me. Using the cables as your weight and then also being able to hold on to the cable machine really provides an added level of stability, which allows you to load it more and keep control and tension there. What you want to do is think about using the non-working foot, and you want to drive backwards to ensure that you are hinging back and really getting that nice full stretch on the glutes there. So hinge back, and a slight forward lean is always going to be great for targeting those glutes. Now we are moving into pause glute med kickbacks. So typically I just do them standard, but this time I'm adding a slight pause at that end range. The reason that I'm adding this is because the end range is where the glutes are emphasized most. So you want to kick back and out at 45 degrees and add a slight little pause at that end range. And like I always tell you guys, it's always good to try to add pauses or change variations if you feel like you're getting stuck. With these, it's harder to just increase the weight every single week. So this is a great way to add some challenge for them if you're not ready to increase weight. And I only did 4 exercises this day because the back extension machine for some reason was not in the gym. So I would typically add that, so I'd recommend you guys add that, but that is it for today's workout. Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to the final lifting day of this week of workout split. For Friday, what I do is I basically do a full upper body day. So I am basically hitting back, a little bit of chest, a little bit of tricep, a little bit of bicep, so trying to make sure that I still hit all those muscle groups. I didn't do shoulders today just because I had a big emphasis on that earlier in the week, and then sometimes I'll deadlift on this day, but as of lately, I've been having some lower back discomfort and issues, so I just wanted to err on the side of caution and maybe take off deadlifting for a little bit. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview, and let's hop into today's final gym workout, which is going to be a upper body day. Starting off with the unilateral movement, we are doing a single arm bent over dumbbell row. You guys can do them on the bench like this. For me, this is where I feel most stable and I get that best mind to muscle connection and contraction. You guys could also do it leaned forward, more upright, so don't feel limited in what you can and can't do with these. But what you want to think about is driving your elbow and the dumbbell towards your hips, then bringing it all the way back down and repeating that on both sides. Next, I'm moving into some lat pull downs, which I typically would do first, but the machine was taken and I didn't want to just wait for it, so that's why I did the bent over row first. So what you want to do here is, depending on the attachment, it's going to depend on how wide your grip is. This one is quite wide, but typically if you're using just a normal straight bar, you would want it to be a little outside of shoulder width apart. You don't want to be pulling down with your thumbs because that's going to recruit more forearm and arm, and you just want to think about driving your elbows back into your back pockets. And with these, I did a lower rep range and tried to really challenge myself with the weight, so I was proud about how those were going. Next, we are moving into chest flies. Like I said, this is a really random day. We're doing a lot of different random upper body things. So going into our chest flies, what you guys want to think about with these is, I like to think of it as a bear hug. Think about if you are opening your arms super wide and then bringing them in to give somebody a hug, how you would do that. Personally, I try not to hold on to the handles too much because I notice sometimes I'll hold on too tight, and instead just keep my arms open as I would if I were doing this on a cable machine. Then we're going to be moving into another chest movement. We are doing a incline dumbbell chest press. So for these, you want to pick a nice challenging weight, and you want to ensure that you're not flaring your arms straight out from where your shoulders are. So you want to bring them in at about a 45-degree angle here, bring them downwards towards your chest, and then push straight back up. And for these, you want to have the bench at a slight incline, as you guys see I have there, or if you prefer flat, you guys could do it flat as well. Then to finish off, I have this superset that I've really been enjoying for the upper body. So we are going to be starting off with a single arm rope tricep extension here with the cable machine. Obviously, you want to keep these a bit lighter as they are just single arm. Remember that with these, you want to keep your elbow fixed to your side as much as you can and really get that full range of motion. Then you want to switch sides and do the other side. So with these, make sure to keep your body stable, your core tight, and really just focus on keeping that elbow fixed to your side and getting full range of motion. So you want to bring it all the way down. The bottom of the motion is where you're going to be hitting the triceps the most. So you want to emphasize that little bottom portion there. As you guys can see, it's a challenging one. Then immediately I'm going to be going into some dumbbell hammer curls for the biceps. So these are antagonist muscles, but I really enjoyed putting them together, and I feel like sometimes it's just quicker and more effective to put things together. So that is going to finish off this upper body day. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and it's a really fun and different workout than usual. Hello and happy Sunday. This is the last day of my week of workout. Like I said, this isn't an actual workout. This is more of a recovery day, and I'm going to kind of go into why I'm adding this into my split. Prior to this, I was considering doing like Sunday movement of a Sunday circuit style kind of training, and that was fun for a little bit. But before traveling, I had some knee issues. Even during traveling, I was having some knee issues with the same knee that I tore the ACL on. After that, coming back into training, basically from coming back to now, I've been having lower back discomfort and issues as well. And it's just really frustrating because those are two things that, you know, someone my age maybe shouldn't be struggling with. So I took it upon myself to kind of, after the fact now, try to do some of the rehab stuff that I would be doing if I were in like a physical therapy or something like that. So implementation of that, I just wanted to start doing on Sundays. It's obviously better if I can work my way up and do these more. Nothing super crazy. A lot of it is focused on core stability as well as pelvic tilting, glute and hip gait and strengthening. So it's really not that long of a routine at all, which is why I try to put it on a day where it's like I'm not really moving my body that much. And it was really good. So I did 3 rounds of what I'm about to show you guys. I guess what I'm adding this in this video to say is be proactive. Don't wait for something to bother you or hurt you to make sure that you're implementing things to strengthen yourself and make sure that you can prevent injury, because it sucks when you have to deal with it. So a big emphasis for me moving forward is my low back. It is kind of relearning and reprogramming my bracing, my pelvic tilting, and strengthening those glute and hip muscles and keeping things nice and mobile. And you guys can cater this to whatever. So let's say that you've been in rehab for a shoulder injury or something else. Feel free to add those movements in. Try to remember what you were doing then and try to keep them consistently in your routine. Let's hop into it. Starting off with some stuff for the back, we are doing cat-cow. So what you guys want to do is be in this tabletop position, and then you want to think about rounding your upper back as you breathe in, then bringing it back down as you breathe out. It feels so good, so much relief for the low back, and if this isn't as comfortable for you, you can do it with your hip shifted back even more, and only go to where you feel a nice stretch. You don't want to have any pain or discomfort, so if you do, make sure that you alter the movement to be more comfortable for yourself. But I honestly have been doing these every single day when I wake up because I notice I have some back stiffness and it feels so good. So I highly recommend it whether you have any back issues or not. It's just a great stretch and it's very gentle, so I would recommend it for anyone. Then I'm going into the Cobra to Child's Pose. So what you're doing here is you are going flat and then you're coming back into the Child's Pose. In this position, what it's going to do is help to stretch out your hip flexors. It's just a very, again, comfortable and gentle stretch for your entire body. I like to shift and go from one to the other. It feels very nice, and then I sit at the bottom for a little bit if I feel like I'm getting a good stretch there. This helps to stretch out the hips, the low back, and again, it's just a great sequence to get yourself mobile. I like to start with this before going into other movements that I'm going to use for strengthening. So these are more for stretching, mobility, comfort, and then we're going to be getting into some strengthening strengthening stuff, this stuff is focused most on the low back, which I think is really great if you guys are struggling with any discomfort. So now we're going to be moving into some of the strengthening. So the first thing we are doing is pelvic tilting. This is a very weird movement, especially to watch back, but is one that is very good to practice, especially for the women. So what you want to do is lay flat on the floor, and then what you can actually do is take your hands and place them under the gap where your body arches. And think about scooping your hips backwards to close the space in the gap of the floor. And if you put your hands under your back, you're actually able to feel the gap close, as you see me doing right here. You want to push your back towards your hands while you tilt your hips up, and it's a very good movement to practice and also learn some core bracing as well. Now we are moving into some core stability. We are doing bird dogs. You guys can also do these lying flat on your back. I'm doing them this way. I feel like it offers a little bit more of a stability component, but if you're a more beginner, I would recommend doing the kind on your back. What you want to do is you want to be moving your opposite arm and opposite leg. So as you bring your opposite leg up, your other arm is going to come up, and don't try to shift too much with your core. So you want to keep your core nice and tight and keep your torso nice and stable. If you feel yourself starting to fatigue, you can always break this up into lower sets. So instead of doing 10 on each side in one round, you could do just 10 total, 5 on each side. As you see, I start to struggle at the end there. Body weight stuff, don't underestimate it. It is super good and great for stability and practice. Now we are moving into some glute bridges. These are great all around. Obviously, they're going to strengthen the hips and the glutes. They also do a good job of instilling and practicing the core stability, keeping it nice and tight, and keeping that pelvic tilt, especially in this position. So what you want to do here is have your toes slightly outwards, and then you want to be laying flat on your back. Then you're going to bring your hips up so that your body is a straight diagonal line. Think about getting that full hip extension at the top of the movement, and then you're going to come back down. You don't need to do these super fast. You don't need to do them weighted for them to be working, and they're really, again, all about movement pattern and practice and gait. And if you guys heard that sigh, it was my dog next to me. Now we're finishing off with what I would warrant to be the hardest movement. As you guys can see, I wasn't doing very well here. This is going to be mixing the two components together now. So now we are at a single leg glute bridge. So one leg is staying upright, and then the other leg is moving up and down. So it's also a leg lift. And when you're doing this, you have to keep your core nice and stable to keep yourself upright. As I go, you can see that my hips kind of drop. So you want to aim to keep your hips up throughout the entire movement and kind of gain that base and that strength to do so. Then you're going to go and switch legs. So with this, it's core stability, it's your glutes, it's everything kind of working all together. So I like to finish with it. And yeah, this is my cute little circuit. I could definitely add more or less just depending on my time, but I think this is a great thing for me to start implementing, and I highly recommend you guys also start some type of routine like this in your routine. Okay, that is going to finish off this week of workouts. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely was nice kind of trying a new split, and I'm very excited to keep rolling with this and see what kind of gains we get with the back and shoulders, and just kind of change focus and change order. I feel like is good for me, and I'm very excited to share this with you guys. I know you guys really like these. I know they help motivate you, teach you form, things like that. So hopefully you guys got something out of this, learned something from this, because that really is my goal every time you guys watch a fitness focused video, is to get something out of it. Feel free to let me know if you guys have any questions at all, if you guys feel kind of stuck and don't really know what to do with your routine, or you want a coach or just somebody to help you, to progress you, or to make you a new program. Feel free to apply. I am doing one-on-one coaching and personalized programs that I'll have everything down below to apply for. And like I always tell you guys, feel free, I'm a DM away if you want to message me on Instagram with any questions, or you guys can comment down below any questions and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.